My line producer in my ear just said, we have an aggressive show. And yes, we do. We have an in-studio guest. His name's Rob Gronkowski. He has 4 Super Bowl rings, and he thinks blank squad is going to win the Super Bowl. I did a thing with him yesterday. He let this out, the team of choice, and I said, are we doing a bit here? Are we joking? What are you thinking? He will tell you as he joins me in studio, making me look like a little ant and him a giant, which he is. By the way, he used to play for the coach for the Giants, Brian Dable. There's something viral going on there, so we're going to get his thoughts on the AFC East, which a Raven told me was a very hard division for him to pick. We were doing preseason predictions for the season with Gronk, who we will have on. We got an announcement about Gronk to make on the show today. We also have an announcement about Up and Adam show, going to another training camp, and we also start our show right now with the wonderful Marcus Mariota. Lots to get to. Gronk in studio, but our first guest, and we are so happy to grab just a little bit of his time. He's very busy. He's been in the league a long time now, 9 seasons with the Titans, the Raiders, the Falcons, and now the Eagles. And he's also a native of Hawaii, which we all know is being devastated, has been, continues to try to rebuild with recovery efforts, everything going on this past week. We cannot thank him enough for taking some time to share insights on this tragedy, what Hawaii means to him, and how we, of course, can help. Marcus, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. This was the deadliest wildfire in the United States in 100 years. 2,200 buildings, hundreds missing, mostly residential buildings, all been destroyed, $8 billion in damages. And it seems like they're getting close to detaining the fire. But what have you been hearing from back home, and how are you feeling over this past week?
Well, it's been tough, right? Like, words can't really even explain the devastation, what people are going through. And really, like, for all of us, Hawaii is such a small place. It's such a small community. So everyone's got family or friends that have been affected by this. And like you said, they're starting to contain it. It's getting closer kind of every day. Really appreciate the first responders and all that they've done. But yeah, it's incredibly sad, and, thoughts and prayers, and just to them, to these families that have dealt with such great loss.
What do you want to tell the families in Hawaii? And what do you want to tell people like me who have never been to Hawaii about how special your home is and how small that community is?
It is special. And for a lot of us, the nearest landmass is 5 hours away by plane. So when you grow up there, you have a little bit of that culture community. Everybody looks out for one another. And a great example is just with this devastation, you have people that live on Oahu, who live on the Big Island, who live on Kauai, and they're taking their own personal boats and they're filling it with resources, and they're taking it, to Lahaina Harbor and just trying to help. And, when we grow up in that type of lifestyle, it hurts. It hurts when you see one of your family members struggling. And, again, like I said, I just appreciate all the love and support, the prayers. It's a long road ahead, but we have such a tight-knit community that we'll bounce back from this.
And there is some inspiration to be taken from that with everybody helping now. We're not there. A lot of people watching this, and this will be all over the internet today, and we appreciate your time. We want to know how to help. How can we?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, prayers, right? I think faithfully, spiritually, that is truly generous. And then if by financial means you want to help, Hawaii Red Cross, Malama Maui, which is also another community organization that's putting together just resources, whatever you can find, even if it's a little bit here and there. I know these families will truly appreciate it. And like I said, faith and prayers mean the world to us as well.
I know we have the QR code here for the Maui Fire Relief Fund. You guys can use your cell phones, grab that and donate. I saw Myles Garrett donated $10,000. What has it been like in that new locker room for you? Eagles locker room. Listen, I was there a couple weeks ago. I didn't see you because you were probably super busy. I saw Jalen Hurts. He's super focused. I know it's sort of business over there right now. What has the sort of interest been, the questions that are pouring in from teammates and their support of you in Hawaii?
Yeah, the support's been unbelievable. I think a lot of people are similar, right? They're just trying to understand truly the devastation. I think it's hard to really put into perspective the gravity of what's happened. Like I said, it's the nearest landmass is 5 hours away. So for us, the amount of resources aren't as readily available. And I think initially just being able to, like I said, just through prayer, through faith, and then, guys have been very, very fruitful, and just appreciate just any sort of donation. And like I said, the generosity is going to make an incredible difference. And, these guys have been really supportive and have had my back for sure.
It's prayer, it's community, it's sending our aloha, which you're seeing on the screen right now, everybody. And you are so active in the community with Motivate. That's your foundation. On September 16th, this is before all of this was going on, of course, you had planned this. It's very cool. You and your alma mater, Oregon, you're sending 1,000 local Hawaiian kids to Eugene for the Hawaii versus Oregon game. I imagine it has even more special meaning now.
It does. And I think for Motivate, the amount of support has been unbelievable, and it's been really cool. It's been 8 years now that we've done a lot of community work. We've done back to school backpacks. We've done a lot of these games where kids can go and they get a free lunch, they get T-shirts, they get to hang out, maybe meet some of the players. So for us with Motivate, obviously again with Maui, what's going on, we're just trying to find any sort of avenue, any sort of void that we can fill. And like I said before, it's through the generosity of others that Motivate is able to accomplish a lot of these things. And it's just, for us, we're just truly grateful, and we just try to share and make a difference where we can.
It's amazing what you do, and you've taken that and your mentality and your character into every locker room you've been, and now you're with the Eagles. There's some really amazing vets there, Super Bowl champions who do a lot. You have a Walter Payton Man of the Year who was there just a couple of years ago, Chris Long, who of course is now retired and moved on, but that sort of permeates that from the top down in that organization. I'm glad that you're there. I'm glad that you're bringing that. From all of your stops, and all of them are different, all of them have ups and downs, what sort of sets the Eagles apart as far as just the organization, the coaching, the quarterback room, however you want to take it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things. Every stop that I've been at, there's always been just a great group of guys. And that's what's been cool about me traveling all over the country. You get to meet and create relationships with people that maybe you would have never had the opportunity to do so. But here, for instance, with Philadelphia, to be here with Jalen and to be in this quarterback group, it's been a lot of fun. I'm learning. I'm hopefully being able to share some of the lessons that I've learned through my experiences with Jalen. And on top of that, like you said, there's just a bunch of great guys in the locker room that are very big picture minded. They think about the community. They think about the responsibility they have as role models. And I'm very appreciative of it. It's really cool to be a part of. And I'm looking forward just to try to make an impact wherever I can.
And then there's your coach, who's kind of crazy.
Nick's awesome. I love working with Nick.
I mean, he's kind of crazy. What do you make of him? I feel like your quarterback room is so quiet. Like, you literally might have the quietest quarterback room in the National Football League. You, Jalen, focused, and then you, bring in Sirianni. It's bedlam. It's insane.
It works out great because I think he kind of creates the dynamic where, he's able to communicate and we're able to kind of bounce off of him. So it's been awesome. Like I said, I think with the amount of experience that we have in that room, whether it's Tanny, our quarterback coach, who I played with, who was a former teammate of mine, Brian Johnson's had a lot of experience kind of across not only college, but the NFL. So I think being able to kind of pull all those minds together, hopefully we'll be able to put our guys in good situations and find ways to score points.
Now, you were on quarterback, last one for you. We loved you. To get an inner look at, at you. I've been in this league covering you for so long, 9 seasons, like the second time I've ever talked to you. And I think the first time you were promoting spam or something. And I was like, ask about the spam. So I never got to talk to you. So it was nice to get a little bit of a look. But I'm hearing, rumor has it, Peyton Manning's sort of struggling to find quarterbacks to want to do the thing, right? He's got Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Fields, Geno Smith, Jalen Hurts. Your guy in your QB room, they declined. What do you make of that?
I think at the end of the day, it is a lot of an ask. The every single day you're kind of either you're meeting with people, you're talking about your process, you're showing kind of how you go about your business. And I think at the end of the day, for me, at least, it wasn't a distraction, and I really appreciate that. They took the time to give us space. My wife was going through our pregnancy with our first child, and they were very respectful. And, I think a lot of people have hesitations about kind of the access. How much do you want to share? How much do you want to show of your routine? So I totally understand that. And at the same time, though, I really appreciated during that whole process for me how respectful and just how they really made it easy for us. And we really just got an opportunity to share a little bit about ourselves, but also a little bit about the process to be a quarterback in the NFL.
All right, we'll see. Joe Burrow, we'll get to see all of that. It was an amazing experience, and you're a dad now. You do so much for the community and for that team. I'm sure the Eagles happy to have you. We're excited to see what happens. So, guys, use that QR code. We're going to pop it up right here again. Help support Hawaii, okay? Please help, do what you can. As you're hearing from Marcus, it's prayers, it's thoughts, it's whatever you can. But this right here is easy. If you have 50 cents, you have 75 cents, round up to $1, whatever you can give. Go, have a great day. You did not have to take the time to do this. I know you are intensely focused on the season, but also, go tell A.J. Brown to chill out. That's your boy from way back when in Tennessee, and I keep hearing he just keeps stiff-arming people left and right. Calm down?
Oh, man, no, don't calm down. Keep getting better. That's what I love about him. He's got such a mentality to continue to get better. And Thank you again for having me. Really appreciate all the love and support, everybody. Your generosity makes a difference. And Malama Maui, thank you.
Amazing. Enjoy that Super Bowl ring after this year. All right, we're gonna have Gronk on the show in just a little bit. So grateful that Marcus could stop by. You guys can tweet the show at Up and Down. Oh, we're doing an Ask Gronk Anything, by the way. If you want to get your questions in for the Gronkster, please tweet me. So we're looking ahead to 2023. Is it the Eagles? Marissa wishes it was. Is it the Bengals? Is it the Bills' turn finally? I did want to, for those fans who are sick pups but have lives, maybe aren't in the cycle maybe as much as we are. There are some things we need to remember from last season to carry in through the preseason to real action. These are trends that sort of stood out to me in Hamilton from the end of last year. Okay, these are major factors, and I want to start in Baltimore. Okay, in Baltimore, because all of the talk is about offense. Lamar's extended lip, Todd Monken's new system. OBJ is here. Dobbins is back. I hear Zay Flowers looks amazing. We get it. But don't forget about this defense and how incredible this defense got, more so when Roquan came into the building. Okay, this trade changed things. In the first 8 games of last year, the Ravens' D was a problem, and not in a good way. Okay, take a look at this. 25th in total defense, 19th points allowed. So Roquan gets there via trade. Sorry, Chicago. And over the last 9 games of the season, the Ravens allowed 8 fewer points per game, ranking behind only the Niners in points allowed. And they went from 25th in total D to 3rd. So Roquan's presence clearly helped bring everybody up to par, all right? We went to another level. And he's not going anywhere with the big deal he just signed. So while everybody's obsessing about what this offense probably will look like and how threatening they'll be, don't forget it's the defense. It's the well-rounded defense that usually does and will probably end up vaunting Baltimore into Super Bowl contention this season. Ooh! All right, next up, let's go to Dallas. Okay, everyone's playing fantasy football, and everyone, around the league's talking about this. Don't forget about how dominant CeeDee Lamb was over the second half of last season. You might not be forgetting about it. You might say, oh, okay, whatever. I'm just looking at the stats. Last year was CeeDee Lamb's first year as the #1 dude in Dallas after that trade with Amari Cooper, for Amari Cooper. Okay, the narrative earlier in the year was he's not handling being the #1 well. He misses Amari. Yeah. The numbers were kind of making that story look true. So in the 8 games before the Cowboys bye week, he had no games with 100-plus yards, scored 3 touchdowns, averaged under 70 yards a game. But after the bye, he shut everybody up big time. Shut up. CeeDee ranked 3rd in catches, 3rd in yards, 3rd in touchdowns over the final 9 of the season. So only Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams outgained him. And his 5, oh my God. Guys, he had 5 100-yard games. Hey, Gronk, is it easy to have a 100-yard game? Yeah. It is? Okay, well, he said yes. We'll have Gronk on in a minute. I don't think it's that easy, but those 5 games, 100-yarders, tied Justin Jefferson for the most in the league over that span as well. So I think if you add in Brandon Cooks with the arrow, Gronk and I talked about him yesterday, he'll be a factor. That adds speed to the offense. It's only going to help Lamb, right? They missed that guy who could stretch the defense last year. I think CeeDee ends up being a top 5 receiver this year. Oh! These kind of don't matter, right? It's August still. If he's going to get buried somewhere, am I going to have to pay for these? Okay, and lastly, I do want to talk about the Chargers because I want to address, a negative trend. We don't like to swing negative on the show unless it's about, never mind. A negative trend is that the run defense could not stop anything. It was struggles McGee, In fantasy football for years, it's been start your running backs against the Chargers. I don't care who it is, bro. Put them in the lineup. Chargers suck. They can't stop a nosebleed. The numbers have not been kind. Look at this. Since 2021, they have allowed the second most rushing yards per game in the league. They're the only NFL team that's allowed over 5 yards a carry, and they've allowed the 5th most rushing touchdowns over that span as well. But I think this is the year that they flip it, reverse it, Missy Elliott style. Let's do it. Why? Don't you forget about what happened in LA this offseason, starting with my first in-studio guest with this new studio, and that was Eric Kendricks, I had Eric here in April, and we talked a little bit about how he'll fit into the defense. Take a listen. How do you fit amongst the Khalil Macks and the Bosas of the world and the Derwin James? That's a solid group.
Yeah, I don't know how I fit right now as you speak though, but I think that I do bring a lot to the table, and I'm not gonna try to do too much. I'm gonna show up and just be who I am, and hopefully that I could help everybody out.
That was a few months ago. I think he drove some sort of Porsche in here he was obsessed with. I don't remember what kind it was. He told me that I would drive a Subaru. I didn't love that. But he was very humble. He tried to work his way into the new defense, of course. I can tell you from being out at Chargers camp last week, we should not be underestimating the impact he's going to have on these guys up front, Not just because of his play, his run-stuffing ability, and the casual 280 tackles he's racked over the last 2 years, but because of how he helps everyone around him. This is a leader. He's a captain. There are reports that he will be wearing the green dot and calling the defense, And it seems like he's already developed so much chemistry with his group and his coach. Former first-rounder Kenneth Murray has talked about the impact that Kendricks has had on him specifically, saying he's been like a big brother to him. I think that even with all the stars on this defense, and I'm not taking away from the leadership and the defensive guy that Derwin has been wearing that green dot, doing his thing. He's 27 years old. He's still a young cat in this league. I think Kendricks is going to be the guy that we are talking about come week 8. It will be Kendricks, Chargers jersey, UCLA vibes. It will be all over SoFi by week 6 or 8. He will be that important to what this team is doing, and he will stick out among the many stars, the Bosas, the Khalil Macks, all of them on defense. We've got Gronk on the show. We're going to talk AFC East. We're going to talk Super Bowl pick. We got Gronk here. We're talking responsible gaming later with FanDuel. We've got it all going on. Hey, tall guy, what's going on? Oh, I like good walk and talk. I like this.
The old world tight end, the 6'7" freak. You can call me the GOAT. Rob Gronkowski. Touchdown!
Oh my goodness.
Go.
Holy guacamole!
The greatest of all time, bro. They call me GOAT.
They call him the GOAT. How did we get so lucky? A 4-time Super Bowl champion, a FanDuel partner, and our second favorite Gronkowski behind his mom, Gronk, in studio. You went, what? Second favorite Gronk. What's up?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm
First
good.
time in the studio. I love it here. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. You and I are doing some fun FanDuel stuff later. We did some fun football stuff with some of the family that lives and works here in this building in Los Angeles. FanDuel is everywhere. There's a headquarters in New York, and it's sort of fun to get to see everybody and meet everybody up close, yeah?
Yeah, it was fun just doing a question and answer with other employees. There's always great questions. I always have some clever answers to go along with the questions as well. And also I was tossing some footballs around as well. And I'm pretty sure that one of your producers, he won a football and I got to toss it to him and it went right through his hands, the pass.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. That's the guy that's in our ear.
That's who it is. Oh, it's that guy. Yeah, that was a great drop, buddy.
We're going to get to all of that. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to do an Ask Gronk Anything, guys. Tweet us at Ask Gronk Anything. I want to ask you about this. We're on our morning call. And we're like, what should we talk to Gronk about? Zeke to the Patriots? Sure, we could do that. You were so complimentary. You always are with Travis Kelce. You love him. You love Jason Kelce. You love the whole vibe. He has such a good rapport with Patrick Mahomes. They're doing their thing. But if you compare you and Tom's touchdowns to our boy Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, it sort of just emphasizes how insane what you and Tom were able to do. So let's take a look here, because obviously the connection's amazing, but they're not even halfway there with 48. You have 105 with Tom. Like, what does that even mean to you?
It is pretty crazy. Whenever I see that, the amount of touchdown receptions I have from Tom, it's actually like the most mind-blowing stat of mine, and I appreciate it as well. And that just shows how appreciative I was to be with Tom throughout my whole career, and that's why I wanted to stick with him throughout my whole career as well, because we built such a great connection, and it just doesn't happen overnight. We built that throughout my whole rookie year, throughout my second year in the league, and then in order to sustain it, we were always getting together, staying after practice, getting together in the off season, just to always throw. So it was a connection that just was built over time, and that's why it was so great, and that's why I just loved playing with him as well.
Did Tom care about stats? Because he clearly wanted those padded. Like, it was insane what you guys did out there. Come on.
It was insane for sure, but he didn't really care about stats. Like, I mean, everyone cares about stats. I mean, I would say, but it wouldn't, like, the careness level was at the end of the list, obviously. It was more important to get to win. It was more important to do what's best for the team, and then the stats come along with that.
Will they catch that? So Travis is 34 this year. Will they catch up? 48 to 105.
I don't think they'll catch up in that department, but you can kind of compare our touchdown ratio between Tom and I to kind of like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce's like receptions and yardage. Like their receptions, the amount of receptions that he has and the amount of yardage he has, it's kind of like the similar stat to my touchdowns. I mean, he had 10 catches last year. The most amount of catches I've ever had in a year was 90. So it's just pretty mind-blowing, just the amount of catches and yardage he has year in and year out.
But they have 48. You missed a lot of games, and you have 100. It's just, I like could not get over the number. Like, if you had stayed healthy, the entire career, and not like giving your body to the game the way that you did, that could be like 150. It's just insane to think about. The most in NFL history.
I was a touchdown machine.
I know.
I loved it.
We needed 106 from you guys. So they have 2 rings together. You have obviously 4 with Tom. Are you secure with the 4, or do you think that they're going to match it? Is it something you think about?
If we didn't beat them the year that we were in Tampa, it would definitely be a close race now. I mean, it would possibly be tied because they would have 3 then, and I would have 3 as well. But it doesn't really come to my mind. I mean, it's definitely attainable. They can definitely get to that level. And if the Kansas City Chiefs do win another Super Bowl within the next 3 years, I would say that they are one of the greatest dynasties of football, but not as great as the Patriots. That dynasty was just unbelievable, going from 2003 to 2019. That lasted about 15, 16 years. But they're a great team, great organization, and I believe that it starts with their head coach, Andy Reid. He's done such a great job ever since he's gotten there.
Now, they don't have Eric Bieniemy. He's gone to the Commanders. And we were going to talk about the AFC because we're going to make some predictions on the show with Gronk, who'll be joining us weekly once the season starts. You've got Fox this year. I hear a rumor you're doing more games than you even did last year. What's like the storyline in the NFL you're most looking forward to?
Yes, I'm actually, the biggest storyline I'm looking forward to is just the whole division in the AFC East. I mean, I feel like every team is great on paper, and you don't know how it's going to play out during the season, but every team, the Dolphins, they upgraded their team. The Buffalo Bills, they upgraded their team. The Patriots, they upgraded their team. And obviously the Jets, they upgraded their team as well. They were all competitive last year, and it's just going to be great games, great battles when they face each other in the division. So I'm looking forward to that this year to see how that plays out.
But Gronk, everyone just thinks it's Aaron Rodgers. Everyone just thinks it's the Jets. What do you make of the AFC?
Everyone in Buffalo thinks it's the Bills.
Yeah.
And everyone down in Miami thinks it's the Dolphins now. You know, that if Tua's healthy the whole year, and they added, Jalen Ramsey at cornerback. They got Tyreek Hill, at wide receiver. But the Ramsey injury can definitely play a role, play a factor with how they do this year. Because he's out for a couple months now, so that definitely hurts them a little bit. But just looking forward to it, and looking forward to just the battles that they're going to have. It's a tough division for sure.
I love that. I'm doing this thing. Do you remember MySpace?
I do remember MySpace.
Like the top 8? Yeah,
Tom. He was my friend. He's always going to be my friend. There he is right there.
There he is. So we're doing top 8. I'm doing veterans who've been in the game like 10 years or more that are on new teams and who's going to make the biggest impact. So, like, obviously Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins, Bobby Wagner back in Seattle kind of counts. Odell with Baltimore.
Okay.
Does Stephon Gilmore belong on that list?
I was actually going to just say his name. That's whose name just popped up in my head. And you were just naming a couple, and I'm like, what about Stephon Gilmore?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be
I saw your head kind of go there.
I think he's going to be a huge impact with the Dallas Cowboys. I kind of feel like he shines when, lights are the brightest. And in Dallas, that's where the lights are the brightest. They're supposedly America's team.
Yeah.
So Stephon Gilmore, he's a great teammate. He's a great guy, and he's a great football player. So I think he's going to step it up this year and help the Dallas Cowboys out tremendously.
You know Brian Dable. I want to get into this.
I love Dable. He's my favorite.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
It can't be. Bill O'Brien's your favorite.
Bill O'Brien is great, and Bill O'Brien was my favorite offensive coordinator. Brian Dable was my tight end position coach.
For 4 years.
Bill O'Brien, my favorite offensive coordinator, and then Dable, my favorite tight end coach.
Why Dable? Why?
I just love the passion that he brings to the game. He kind of brings the best out of you every single week, and that's why I believe the Giants were so good. I didn't think the Giants had that much talent last year. I don't think they would have made the playoffs if they had another coach, but Brian Dable can bring the best out of his players and make them want to play for you, and that's why I loved him so much. He just had that in him, and he brought the best out of me every week.
So New York media, of course, jumping all over anything that they see. So I don't know if you saw, well, I think we have the clip. So this is, I don't know why this, maybe you can explain to me, like, why this was so popular after the first preseason game, but he was, do we have it? Yeah. He was, this was his face. This is his glare, okay, giving the special teams coordinator after the G-men gave up a punt return touchdown. It's a big story in New York. What is this glare?
Oh, man, I never really seen him do that to me because, I was always making touchdowns, making receptions, getting first downs. So he was always that joyful Brian Dable that I know.
Really?
But he does get like that sometimes. I mean, when someone makes a mistake that should have never been made, that's kind of when he gets really red and he gets really furious. So
Gronky's never looked at you like
yes,
that?
he has before a couple of times, but he knows how to get me right back on track.
Can I give you a guess on what I think you probably looked at? We found a play that I want to show you.
All right, let's check it out. Let's check it out.
It's you in 2014.
All right.
Does the name Sergio Brown ring a bell?
Yes.
Take me through this play.
I mean,
what were you thinking?
All right, I talked about this plenty of times. I was actually just on the Dan and Ninko show with Rob Ninkovich. We talked about this.
Oh, way to go, Nink.
But Sergio Brown, I mean, I love Sergio. He was one of my teammates for a couple years with the Patriots, but he went to the Colts. But he was just talking garbage the whole game, and then finally it just got to me. It just triggered me, and then I was just like, I just went to another level, and just my mindset was just like, I've got to take him out. Like, he's just yapping the whole game, and then that just happened, and it was pretty wild.
And Dable's reaction to that was what?
I didn't see that actually, but Dable,
we actually have it.
Sure
Can we show it? We have Dable's reaction.
He loved it.
It's the same.
He didn't have that.
What do you mean? We don't have the same purple face? That's what I'm asking.
No, he did
for.
not have a purple face. He was probably cheering.
I'm pretty sure that's what he did. Okay, this is our last time together. Gronk, this is last time. Yeah, this is his face. This is
that's
Sergio
when he was
Brown.
with the Giants.
Stir in the
That was the other
Gronk.
week. Yeah, it was the other week. That wasn't with me.
He looks terrifying. Okay.
He needs me back.
We're gonna.
Brian Dable wants me on his roster.
Don't do Gronk. We can't. Gronk. We can't.
He won't have that
Gronk,
face if I was on the team with him.
Gronk, we can't keep doing this.
I know, but I love to do it.
Where's the window? Is it?
I love to do it though.
Is it like open?
I love to pretend that I can still play. Just makes me feel good.
You definitely could still play.
No, I can't. I'm washed up.
Who's the coach that
But
has
I just like to pretend.
Who's the coach that has the best chance to get you out of retirement?
Brian Dable.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Not Sean McDermott? Interesting.
Oh, my hometown team.
Your favorite team.
But Brian Dable.
Brian Dable could get you out. What would he say if you called him?
I mean, he can't.
What would he have to say to you?
He can't get me out of retirement, but he would have the best chance to get me out of retirement.
I mean, it could be you and Waller. Can you imagine that?
That would be pretty wild. I always believe that having two tight ends is the best. It makes the defense have the most difficult times. If you have two tight ends, I think that can make an offense unstoppable. And it's rare. I mean, if you go back to my days when I had another tight end with me, I mean, it just makes the offense just prolific, just unstoppable. It gives you so many more options in the run game and the pass game and play action.
It sounds like you want to call Dable and pitch that to him, no?
No.
Okay, we'll see.
I mean, I should call him.
New York media,
pitch that to him
send it
just
up.
to mess with him. That would be great.
Okay, so
just
we're
to bust his
Dable
chops.
people. Okay, let's do this. Let's do more predictions here, okay? I'm going to give you a prompt, and you tell me the team that describes what I'm saying. Who's the team no one's talking about, but they're going to prove people wrong?
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, they're always, they've had a winning record like since Coach Tomlin's been there. They have a great defense. Their offense struggled last year. I think they're going to pick it up a little bit. And their quarterback, I think he he's going to come through. He's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the division this year.
7-2 to end the season. Najee Harris, no more Liz Frank, hopefully. And you like that tight end, Washington.
Yes, Darnell Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's going to have a great year. I would say he's going to put up around 600 to 700 yards and help the offense, gain some first downs, a couple touchdowns in the red zone. He's 6'7", like 265 pounds, and he looks like a freak out there.
Team that's worth the hype they're getting.
Oh, a team that's worth the hype that they're getting. Oh, I'll go with the Detroit Lions. Yes, they finished the season strong last year. They should have made the playoffs, but unfortunately, what was it? The Seattle Seahawks lost, so then it put in, who got put in because of that?
You think they're making the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they're making the playoffs.
Are they winning
year,
the division?
Sure.
It's a sexy
I
pick.
think they're going to win the division as well.
Wow.
I like that head coach too. He fires me up.
Because he's a tight end, obviously.
Yes.
Okay, a team that will manage to go 8-8-1.
I'll go with the Titans. I just feel like they're always at 500 and they're always somehow squeaking into the playoffs in that division.
That's a good answer. Team that you're keeping your eye on this season.
I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
Just because they're family there. And I love everyone in the organization there, especially in the front offices. I still talk to them, and they're great people.
Are they trying to get you to come back?
No, they're not.
Catch balls from Baker, Trask?
Yeah, that
Who
would
do
be
you
pretty
think?
cool.
Who do you think ends up on top there?
I'll go with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, you were with Kyle Trask, so that's not good to hear if you're a Kyle Trask.
I know, but Baker Mayfield, #1 pick
Yeah.
overall a couple years ago. I mean, he just has the edge.
Okay, team that you'd bet money on to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. You don't want to always bet the favorites because then you don't win too much. So I feel like the Dallas Cowboys, they have pretty good odds to win some money if they win it all.
Make the case for the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, they added Brandon Cooks at the wide receiver position. Super fast player. He can go downfield. He'll be a great complement to CeeDee Lamb. And also they added Stephon Gilmore, who we were talking about earlier. He was Defensive Player of the Year a couple years ago, and I think he's gonna make a great comeback this year and play at a high level.
If I'm at FanDuel Sportsbook on my app and I'm trying to do that, I'm thinking, okay, that sounds great. Brian McCarthy.
Oh, man, I feel like not a lot of people like Brian McCarthy that much. They kept him, though, this year. Everyone was talking about firing him, but obviously Jerry Jones believes in him.
Got a ring,
They
too.
added the players that they needed to add. They have a strong roster. Micah Parsons, that guy's an animal. I like his attitude. I like the way he's leading the team as well. He always shows up. He talks about it and he shows up. He backs his mouth, which is unbelievable to see that. That means the guy he's strong and he has passion. But I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I mean, they've been making the playoffs every year. I feel like this is the year they just, get over that edge.
They got a pretty nice defensive piece in Micah Parsons as well. We'll see if Mike McCarthy can do it without Kellen Moore, who's now calling the shots for Justin Herbert, my sneaky pick to take it all. All right, we'll be back after this with Gronk. He's going to stick with me. Who's winning one-on-one, Lane Johnson or Myles Garrett?
Oh.
This would be terrifying, huh? Back on Up and Adams, this is Joe Jonas posting from his birthday party. There's Priyanka, there's Nick Jonas, Joe Jonas, and there's Mr. MVP, Mr. New Jet, Aaron Rodgers here. Gronk, this is what living in New York is like.
Where was my invite?
I don't know, you're here in LA. I think this
So
was last
you're
night.
saying if I go and play for the Giants and coach Brian Dable, I can be invited to this birthday dinner?
I don't know. I don't
Because
know.
I'll be in New York.
Yeah. I don't know how it happened. What was the coolest thing you were sort of invited to being in Boston all those years? Like you just hung out with, I imagine you just like walked over and borrowed a cup of sugar from Mark Wahlberg all of the time.
Yes, it was always great seeing Mark Wahlberg. He's a big Patriots fan. He's a big Tom Brady fan, and I'm a big fan of him as well. Every movie I watch of his, there's always just so much action, and I love action movies. But the coolest thing about being an athlete on the New England Patriots was that the Boston Celtics, they gave away front row tickets to every Patriot that wanted to go to a Celtics basketball game. And that was just so cool to be front row, right on the court and just watching the game and just being right next to the players and just seeing how big those basketball players are.
You're saying that about basketball players? That's amazing.
Yes, they are. They're like all 6'10", 6'8", 7'2", and they can all dribble and they can all move. It's impressive. They're athletes.
What's the best city in America to be Rob Gronkowski?
Wow, that's a great question. Depending on what you're looking for, depending on the mood that
you're looking
in.
you're looking to, have a little ego stroke going on a little. It's got to be New England,
Yeah,
right?
it's got to be, the whole area of New England, especially the city of Boston. So if you got to stroke your ego a little bit, you go out to Boston, you go out to the bars, you go out to the clubs, you go out to the restaurants, and you'll have a good time.
You don't want to be recognized. You want very chill. Where do you go?
Out of the country, I go to Europe sometimes. I walk around the streets in the city. I was just in Paris a couple weeks ago. I just walked around like I was totally normal.
Nobody bothered you, not one person?
About every 10 minutes, someone recognizes me, but they're always from the States.
This was in Paris?
Yes.
I just love somebody's chasing Gronk.
But
I love it.
people they kind of look at me and they try to figure it out, but they just don't know. But they kind of know. They're like, that's somebody.
They got to see 80
like,
for Brady.
Yeah, you're so tall. You look like an athlete, but they can't put it together.
What did you say, Richard? Richard, we'll get to you and your athleticism later in this. Are we not doing that? Are we not doing Richard's segment? What do you mean? Richard, can we see the throw? Let's get into it.
Yeah,
Gronk.
come on, Richard.
Yeah. Let's get into it. We had an event here at FanDuel yesterday. Gronk and I got to hang out with fans, and then Gronk gave away some football. So there's Richard. Gronk, talk me through this.
All right, so somehow the drawing was rigged because I have no clue how Richard won. He should have never been entered into the drawing.
I agree.
Yeah, he works in this show.
Yeah, it's a raffle.
Yeah, so he rigged it because he also handed us the jar to pull the tickets from. So I pulled his number. So then I'm like, Richard, catch his pass. Everyone's watching. It was just a nice, perfect spiral right at his chest and it went right through his hands because he has no hands.
He's saying you threw it very hard.
Obviously, he's not an athlete. Or didn't play football.
Now, this man has
up.
children. Let's just...
He does. His children are probably, pretty legit. They got it from his mother, that's for sure.
Jack and Max
it went right through his hands and hit the guy behind him, hit his coffee, and the coffee went flying everywhere.
Yeah, it was a mess.
He definitely owes that guy a coffee for a whole year.
Clean up on aisle 7. Eric, you get the coffee. Eric, a Packers fan. And then, we had a great time up there.
All right, Eric's a Packers fan?
Yeah,
all right, he doesn't get free coffee anymore
unless you're a Giants fan. All right, Gronk, we're having so much fun. We are doing something every Thursday on Up and Adams. You're part of the FanDuel family, so listen to this. We have another week closer to week 1 of the regular season, and that means I'm giving out another special profit boost on FanDuel. Gronk, it's like a gift card. We gave away those footballs. We're giving stuff away. So this week, all customers can get 25% profit boost to use on any NFL regular season wins market. This isn't my favorite. I don't like wins. I don't like over/under. Okay, but if you bet on a team's over/under win total and win 25% more if your pick comes through. So it's straight bets only. I got to get used to it. I got to dabble in it. It's a little like unfamiliar territory for me. So log in, guys, with me, and you can claim your NFL profit boost on Thursday. This is happening tomorrow. And people are saying, oh, I got it, and I can't. You have to just do it, get it, and use it right away, or it goes away. This is like a great thing. It's some generosity. Thank you to FanDuel Sportsbook 4. So you guys got to make sure you grab them and utilize them on whatever bet you want. So I was checking out the win totals, and I got to say, and this is where I'm going, I'm going to go with Commanders, okay? Over 6.5.
You're going with the Commanders?
I am. It's interesting. Listen, okay.
That's not a bad pick.
You're getting plus odds for them to win 7 games. So I know the schedule is brutal. The division's tough. This was an 8-win team last season.
Oh, all right.
They got better. Sam Howell has impressed. The receiver trio, I'm not kidding, might be the best in the league with Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. Chase Young is back. He could be DPOY this year if he's healthy. He's playing for a contract, too. And they add Eric Bieniemy, who everyone's terrified of because he's like a Belichick-y kind of guy who's like really bringing some accountability to this team. So I'm high on Washington this year. I think 7 wins is the floor for my expectation for this team.
That's a good pick. I like it.
What do you got?
Yes, I like that pick. But I'm going to go with New England Patriots.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, the AFC is tough, but this is a no question. This is a no-brainer. It's the New England Patriots over 7.5 games won. Just put it this way: they had a losing record last year, and they still won 8 games. They were 8-9, and even the following year, before that, they went to the playoffs. I think they had 10 wins that year as well. And then the year before that, they didn't go to the playoffs, but I would say they had one of the worst rosters I've seen in the NFL history with the year after Tom was there.
Yeah.
And they still won about 6 to 7 games that year as well. So they got great coaching there. They're going to be coached no matter what. They're going to win games. They're going to win the tough games, and they're going to win over 7.5 games for sure. That's a no-brainer.
It was 7 games that year. I think the worry is that there's the rest of the division so much
It doesn't
better.
matter. Their coaching is just too superb.
Oh, I love that. And I will say, and they have some, Juju Smith-Schuster's there. They've got more reps. They got Zeke that just added. So hopefully Mac Jones can make it happen.
And don't forget about the offensive coordinator.
That's true. Your boy, Bill. The Bill O'Brien is the straw that stirs the Patriots' drink. The Patriots have won less than 8 games once over the last 22 seasons.
Exactly. That's why I'm going with the over.
Yeah, and you're getting plus odds on that, people. So get there and do it. It is our profit boost bet. Gronk, we got work to do. We got responsible gaming to talk about. We are having fun with FanDuel today after the show. Marcus Mariota was here. Gronk was here. And then we're going to hit some fantasy after this. And we'll see you on the 10th floor here at FanDuel.
All right, sounds good.
All right, we'll see you guys after this. Thank you, Gronk, for being here. Patriots, all right. We got big announcements, baby! Up and Adams went from LA. See ya! And we landed in East Rutherford. No, we didn't. We go to Florham Park and saw the Jets. Then we went to see the Bills. And then we went down in an RV to see the Commanders and Sam Howell. I think we'll have 7 wins. And then we went to see the Eagles, which was really fun. Didn't get to see Marcus Mariota. We were at the Bengals. Then we went back to LA to see the Chargers, which was really fun, but really hot. And now we're going to Denver, baby! Country roads, take me home. I'm excited. Oh, Eric was really, okay, Danita got into it. Let's do it. We're going to Denver, baby. We're leaving after the show. After I hang out with Gronk and do a couple FanDuel things, which we're very excited about here with our amazing family. We're going to Denver. We're going to Denver to do our show there tomorrow. We're going to have interviews. Hopefully Sean Payton, I can get like a lasso and just take him and say like, Russell Wilson, want to coming out with us? We have a lot to talk to Russell Wilson and maybe Cortland Sutton. I'd love to talk to Javonte. I mean, they didn't add a running back, so they must think that he's pretty healthy. They're going to want to do all the play action. I think Sean Payton is going to cater this completely to Russell Wilson. But what is behind him playing 20 snaps? Like, what is behind him playing like out there for the entire 4 quarters of the second and third preseason games? Probably like he's a madman. And yes, we're bringing bucket hats. We are doing it for you guys, the rest of the AFC and NFC. All right, so if you have anything that we need to go do in Denver, see in Denver, I don't know quite how long we're going to be there, but I will try. And I've loved the recommendations the whole training camp tour, so hit us up at Up and Adams Show. And thank you. I think we might be ending it there for the I think we might be done there. All right, time for another edition of Fantasy Bits. I want to break down Zeke to the Pats, Cook to the Jets, to some of this running back news, and sort of how it affects your draft strategy. Let's get real nerdy here, people, especially when it concerns a Ramondre Stevenson and a Breece Hall, who, nobody was higher on him than me. Mea culpa. Misery loves fantasy handcuffs, people, okay? And as if there weren't enough fantasy headaches at the running back spot this year, things could get Bravo Housewives messy out here. So let's sort it out with Ramondre up first. Fantasy Pros had him at 10 before the Zeke signing, and I'm a fan, but I felt it was a little high even before the signing because you literally have to take 2 Advil before setting any Belichick running back lineup. It's a cluster headache on top of a migraine. So I don't think this should sandbag Ramondre completely. He's got PPR value. He snagged 69 balls last year. Speaking of Gronk, even splitting time with Damian Harris. But I do think this probably knocks him out of the running back 1 territory. You got to sort of dive him down a little bit. Zeke scores touchdowns. So let's talk about that, right? He still had 12 last year in a down year. So that's what's going to happen here, in my opinion. He's going to vulture some scores. He's going to sort of plop into the end zone and piss you off if you drafted Ramondre Stevenson. Now, so I don't think you can take him, Ramondre I'm talking about, over a Mixon or a Najee Harris. I just don't think you can happen. You can do that. I think like an ETN vibe, Aaron Jones, he's in that range right now. I still, though, would take him ahead of Breece Hall because Breece Hall, I think, is going to be impacted a lot by the Dalvin signing. I mean, this is what Aaron Rodgers wanted. Aaron Rodgers gave back that money. We interviewed him the next day. He wanted him, okay? I'm a huge Breece Hall fan. I think he's electric. He was on such a roll before the injury. But you also never know how running back's going to look 1 year off a knee surgery to begin with, and now with Dalvin in the mix, it does make it messy, okay? It's like New York Housewives, Ramona vibes, the Countess, like it could be like that, okay? ESPN has already reported that Dalvin's taking more reps early in the season as he's set to, as Breece Hall ramps him up and backs back up. Breece Hall, remember, when Dalvin came to town and everybody's yelling, Dalvin, Breece is like, what? Like he was not happy about it on Twitter. There's something to deal with here. So I think I still take Breece ahead of a Cam Akers. I mean, he's well on his way to being an RB1 before the injury last year, but there are just too many questions for him to be anything more than an RB2 at this point. So if you're patient, I think he pays off later in the season. You might end up being a value. MySpace top 8. This is my profile, Marissa made. We got the Tom Petty. We got the Frey. And here's the guys, these hilarious pictures. These are the OGs. Odell's entering his 10th year. We let it count. He's the youngest on the list. Okay, Bobby Wagner, Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins, all of that. So let me get down to where I need to be to reveal my last 4 guys. Let's do this. I'm gonna start here. These are OGs on new teams. And I'm gonna agree with my friend Gronk and say that Stephon Gilmore makes my top 8. Here he is, Trayvon Diggs, they'll be super impactful. Cowboys were top 10 pass D last year. They will easily crack the top 5 with Gilmore. Gronk sort of convinced me on this one, but friends are friends. Okay, in the 6th spot, he's put on some muscle and was hot out the gates in his first game with the Saints. I'm gonna go Derek Carr. Look at this photo of Derek Carr. I'm obsessed. The Saints had the 25th ranked passing game a year ago and still won 7 games. Carr's gonna give this team stability. He is the reason why they are the favorites, my friends, in the South. Okay, at 7. He's bringing 11.5 career sacks to Carolina. I'm gonna give it to Justin Houston because we always, I feel like, can trust Justin Houston, okay? All he does these days is sign with teams late in the offseason and then ball out, okay? He had 9.5 sacks last year in 14 games in Baltimore. Before that, he had 19 sacks in 2 seasons playing with Frank Reich in Indy. So now, he gets to team up with him again, by the way, in Carolina. I feel like the former Chiefs All-Pros overlooked. I feel like we try to write him off every single year, but he just sort of relentlessly comes right back after these quarterbacks. He's a sack and a half away from cracking the top 25 all-time. I think he definitely does it and more. Finally, hanging on. This is tough because you're leaving some guys off, right? Patrick Peterson, namely. This was the debate. Patrick Peterson, who we love, P2, but we're gonna go with Mercedes Lewis, okay? Because you can't not have the OG on here. How many seasons are we in now? 17? 17. He's 39. He started his NFL career in the heart of the MySpace era. I think he's one of the better blocking tight ends in the NFL, somehow. Somehow he is that. He's teaming back up with Luke Getsy, who we hear a lot from Aaron Rodgers, always talking about Luke Getsy. So, from back in Green Bay. He's 6'6". He's 267. I wish we would have asked Gronk about it. Maybe I will after the show and I'll tweet about it. He's a monster. This is a dude who will be clearing the way for Justin Fields. And by the way, Khalil Herbert, Foreman maybe, but for right now, that's what we're watching with the backfield battle there with Khalil Herbert. So there we have it, guys. My top 8 OGs on new teams. Odell's a little too young to be on here in retrospect, but that's okay. This is it. Who did I miss? Sorry, Patrick Peterson, we love you. Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest Up and Adams content right on YouTube.